Raider Nation, it's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and you're watching our Week 4 matchup preview against the Los Angeles Chargers, the Raiders' first home game, essentially, of this season. You got a 1-2 team going up against a 1-2 team in AFC West showdown. Now, this is going to be a electric watch party. When I go back and I think of every watch party that I've ever done, I have a top 10 list. 3 out of my top 10 watch parties that we've ever done involve the Chargers. So here's the thing. This Sunday, I need you to set a calendar reminder. I need you to put something, tell Siri, hey Siri, set a reminder for 3 p.m. Eastern time to watch the Raiders Report. I need you here. I need you rocking with Jeremy Chuggs and I, because we're going to be taking down the Chargers, and I need every single person here from Raider Nation rocking with us. So what we're going to end up doing here on today's show is this. We're going to be giving you the keys to victory on the offense and defensive side. But one of the things that we have to talk about with this is Jimmy Garoppolo. And as it stands, he is in the concussion protocol. Now, we might get new information depending on when this video does end up getting released. But at the time that I am recording this, when we are live, Jimmy Garoppolo is in the concussion protocol. And I am going to say right now that I have a gut feeling he's not going to pass the concussion protocol. Adam Schefter said on Monday Night Football he thinks it's very unlikely that Jimmy G plays. So here's the thing. The first key to victory for Josh McDaniels in the silver and black, you start Aidan O'Connell no matter what this week. If Jimmy G passes the concussion protocol, I don't think he passes it by Wednesday. And if he can't practice a full week, I don't want him out there because he's been bad when he has practiced a full week. I don't want to see Brian Hoyer out there. So your first key to victory, you put out AOC. You put number 4. You put the rookie in. Give your fan base something to have some faith about. I want to see Aidan O'Connell. Now, let's get into some other keys here. The first thing that I want to see is I want to see some deep shots. I've been begging for this Raiders offense to take some deep shots down the field. And I think one of the reasons why the box is getting stuffed, giggity, is because they know that Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw the ball down the field. And when you're going 9 against 5, 8 against 5, it's going to be a losing recipe. Even if you don't complete those deep passes, you have to inspire fear in your defensive opponent. And if they just think that you're never going to do it, it makes their job easier because they're literally taking away half the field. The reason why scoring in the red zone is so difficult in the NFL is because you take away part of the field. Every part of the field right now with the Raiders and Jimmy Garoppolo is the red zone because nothing happens over 20 yards. Take a few deep shots. Inspire some fear. The next thing that I want to see on the offensive side of the football is more pre-snap motion. If there is one thing that drives me nuts that McDaniels does sometimes is he talks so much, right? Talks so much, never gets anything anywhere. But what happened to all this pre-snap motion? What happened to we're going to use our athletes before we end up calling hike? Like, I want to see Trey Tucker running sideline to sideline, even if he's not involved in the play. I want to see DeAndre Carter getting moved all around. I want to see Josh Jacobs lined up in the backfield, split out, or lined up out wide, and then he comes back right next to Aidan O'Connell. I want to see Davante Adams going left to right. I want to see Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, Austin Hooper, Hunter Renfrow. You have to show some pre-snap motion because that's also going to help out your quarterback, especially if he's a rookie, whether or not the mic is going to be on your running back, whether or not they're playing zone, whether or not they're playing man. Running pre-snap motion does so much for the QB, and I need to see more of it. Let's go to the next thing. Let's get all of your wide receivers and tight ends involved. This offense has so many playmakers on it, and I get it, man. Davante is an amazing player, and hell, if I was playing quarterback, I'd probably want to throw most of my targets towards Davante Adams too. But to me, Jimmy Garoppolo right now is doing a lot of the stuff that drove me nuts last season with Derek Carr, and he's just locking into one guy. It's Davante Adams first read, Davante Adams second read, and then he starts doing that pitter-patter, like little happy feet step, and then he's not finding the open receiver. By that time, it's just the route's already done. You took too long to get it going, but I want to see a balanced offensive attack. If that means 10 targets for Davante, 6 for Jacoby, 4 for Hunter. Let's get the tight ends involved here a little bit. I mean, we heard so much about the 2 tight end sets. Austin Hooper is a pass-catching tight end. Michael Mayer is a pass-catching tight end. Stop using them as just clear blockers all the time and get them out there and let them catch the football. You're not putting your players in the best positions to succeed. And I'm hoping with AOC that he sees the more of the field, because right now Jimmy Garoppolo can't make all the throws. He can't make all the throws, and that's why that you're limited to the vanilla offense that you have right now. Let's go to the next key. No more turnovers. If your defense can't force turnovers, you can't commit turnovers, and it's really as simple as that. The Raiders have yet to force a single turnover this season, which, it's one of those things, it's kind of like a broken record. The Raiders are bad every single year at not getting turnovers. Do you know why? Because they don't get any pressure on the quarterback. Do you know why? Because they don't invest on the defense. Do you know why? Because they don't believe in going out and getting defensive tackle. The amount of just head-banging things that this team does drives me nuts. But the no more turnovers thing is, if you got a QB like Jimmy G, he leads the league in interceptions right now, that's not going to put a defense in a good position. If you don't control the football, if you don't win the turnover battle, when you're a below-average team, you're going to lose a lot more than you're winning. And that's happening right now, and it's going to happen again if Jimmy, AOC, whoever, turns over the football this Sunday. And then here's the final one. The Raiders need longer drives. Right now, the Las Vegas Raiders are second in the NFL, I guess I should say second last, 31st in the NFL in plays per game. As it stands right now, the Raiders are averaging 53.7 plays per game. The teams that are leading the NFL are in the low 70s. If you can't sustain long drives, and it's a lot of 3 and outs, it's a lot of short drives, that makes it much more difficult on your defense, and makes your defense a lot more gassed and winded. It makes their job defensively a lot easier. But we have an offensive guru, right, for a head coach. I want to see it. An offensive-minded guru should be able to draw up more than one scoring drive, because the Raiders in that first quarter, first drive or two, woo, man, that offense is cooking. I mean, it's a beautiful offense. You're like, this team's going to put up 30 today. And then the second quarter happens. You're like, all right. Third quarter happens. All right. If you can't make adjustments and you can't figure out ways to get longer sustained drives, you're going to continue to lose football games. And I need to see it this upcoming week. So how about this? I want you to give me a key on offense for the Raiders to take down the Los Angeles Chargers. I gave you my 5 keys, technically 6 because I threw in Aidan O'Connell. So right now, sound off down below. Give me a key on offense for the Raiders to take down the Chargers. Coming up next here on the show, the defensive keys against the Chargers, which is a lot of the times I feel like the things that y'all care about, though, maybe with the new QB, it is a little bit different. But I wouldn't be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, Prize Picks. And I've been using Prize Picks for a long time. I mean, I say it all the time. I am a fantasy guy at heart. I mean, I love this stuff through and through. It's so much fun. And the fact that I get to hook up the nation with a $100 deposit bonus, man, that makes me happy. Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. Prize Picks is the most fun that I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So what I wanted to show you all is the picks that I'm making, and ultimately my decision on why I did it. Justin Herbert, more than 284.5 passing yards. I can sit up here all I want and say the Raiders' keys to defense are this, this, and that. And I just feel like Patrick Graham, McDaniels, they watch the show and they're like, F this guy here. So Herbert, he's going to throw for more. Darren Waller, the other part about fantasy is having fun. I shouldn't say that. I hope Darren Waller stays healthy, but I hope that he has less than 45.5 receiving yards this upcoming week. And then Josh Jacobs, got to find the end zone. Give me more than 0.5, any kind of touchdown. I need JJ to find the end zone, and I need y'all to show me some TDs right now. So I've been playing Prize Picks recently, and I have no idea why I waited so long. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. If for whatever reason you can't remember that link, don't worry, I got you covered. It's down in the comments. It's down in the description of today's show. Huge shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring the Raiders Report. So coming up here, some keys to the defense because we got to get after Justin Herbert. And the Chargers had a major injury last week. Mike Williams, ACL. He's not going to be able to play. Watch out for Joshua Palmer. And I got a few things that I hope the Raiders do this week to come away with a W. First one is this: blitz early and often. When you go back and you look at the games recently that the Raiders have beaten the Chargers, they fluster Justin Herbert. They make him turn over the football. And how do you do that? You got to get after him. You got to blitz. I wish the Raiders didn't always have to blitz, but when you're as bad as they are on the defensive line, you got to blitz. And as soon as you start flustering Herbert, he's got all the talent in the world. From a talent standpoint, he is one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the league. But he struggles up here, and that's why he has struggled to have success in the NFL winning games. The Raiders are still kind of looking for that right defensive end. They have Maxx Crosby with Chandler Jones on the NFI list. Malcolm Kuntz gets a little bit of run. Tyree Wilson from time to time gets some run. But you have to blitz because it is the Maxx Crosby show. Because after that, you got no one. And you got a lot of bodies, right? You got a lot of bodies here on the defensive line. But let's face it, it's no names that people want, right? But if you had a black book and these were the names in your black book, these wouldn't be the names that you would brag about to your friends. You'd brag about Maxx Crosby, right? Maxx Crosby's the supermodel. These are not the names. These are the ones that I had a few too much to drink. And the Raiders' defensive line needs to get better. You got to blitz early and often. The next thing, you got to force a turnover. I want one. Yes, the Raiders had an opportunity this past week with Marcus Peters, and that was a monumental drop. I mean, that really changed the game. I think if Peters catches that football, maybe they win. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But you have to force a turnover, especially if you want to beat the Chargers. Because if you don't force any turnovers, and the Chargers play turnover-free football, they're a better football team than you. And you're going to lose that game. So sometimes you got to risk to win. And if you don't know that, then probably you've never been to Vegas, right? All right, we got a few more keys on the defensive side of the football. But here's your opportunity to give me a key on defense for the Raiders to take down Los Angeles. Can't wait to see the offense and the defensive key from the nation. Let's go to the next one here. It's Nate Hobbs on Keenan Allen. I'd say the most consistent Raiders corner this season has been Nate Hobbs. And I always go to this analogy because it just makes sense to me in my mind. I can remember when I was a kid and I played basketball. And, you know, we had this one kid on our team, man. He was an unbelievable defender. And we used to always play box and one. And you put him on their best scorer. And essentially, you said, hey, you don't worry about anybody else. All you do is you worry about that person. If I'm Nate Hobbs, I say, don't let Keenan Allen beat me. With Mike Williams out, if you want to give Nate Hobbs a little bit of help, you want to give him help over the top just in case, go ahead. But Keenan Allen's a slot, and he's going to do most of his work in the slot. He had 15 catches last week. You put Nate Hobbs in the slot, that's where he benefits. Like, Keenan Allen's probably a better receiver than what Nate Hobbs is a corner, and that's not a shot on Hobbs. That's just, let's be real here, Keenan Allen's the elite. But to me, I'm okay losing that matchup. I'm okay putting my best on their best. And if you have the ability to take away their best and make Justin Herbert go to these other areas, then you need your other players to step up. I'm not worried about Gerald Everett. I'm not worried about Josh Palmer. I'm not worried about those guys. I am worried about Keenan Allen, though. Let's go to the next one here. I want to put Maxx Crosby on Trey Pipkins. Trey Pipkins is the right tackle for Los Angeles. And some of these games recently I've been seeing, you know, Max is going on the left side. He's going on the right side, back and forth. If I'm the Raiders and let's say you get 100 snaps from Crosby. Well, it's not a realistic number. Let's say you get 60, 50 snaps from Maxx Crosby this week, right? I want every single one of them against the right tackle because Rashawn Slater is one of the best left tackles in the National Football League. And I would rather, Max is better than Rashawn Slater, but that's close. Like, Slater's a hell of a player. Pipkins, Crosby's going to eat that guy alive. And he's going to eat him up, and then they're going to be like, well, we're probably going to have to double team. That frees up another Raiders potential guy, maybe like a Malcolm Kuntz. Maybe it frees up a defensive tackle. But you got to take advantage of your mismatches. Maxx Crosby on Trey Pipkins is a mismatch that the Raiders need to take advantage of. And then the last one is this. You got to get off the field on third down. Right now, the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the NFL bottom 5 at getting off the field on third down. What's crazy about what I'm showing y'all right now in this graphic is this graphic applies to last season, 2021, 2020, 2019. I could show this at any point. I could say, I did this show in 2018. I did the show in 2017. You need to start making some adjustments, Raiders, especially on the defensive side of the football. It's just very, very frustrating from top to bottom. And if you don't do these things, guess what? You're not going to end up winning the football game. Those are my keys on offense and my keys on defense for the Silver and Black. I know that I look frustrated. I see right now down in the comments, Mitch looks frustrated. I am frustrated. Are you not frustrated? Because we put our heart and souls into this team. You do everything you can to just be able to rally behind it. But when you don't get the product that you're looking for, it's frustrating, especially when the product, I think, it's not that difficult to be fixed. But when it's ignored because of arrogance, that's when I get frustrated. And I think a lot of people agree with me. So the last time I checked, the over-under in this game, 50.5 points. The Chargers are 4.5-point favorites, which I'm okay. I'd rather the Raiders be underdogs, and because they are the worst team compared to the Chargers, that does not mean that they can't win. The Chargers are well known for blowing leads. The Raiders, luckily this year, haven't blown any leads because, well, let's face it, they haven't really had many. But what I want you to do right now is predict the score. There's going to be a lot of Chargers. I shouldn't say that. There's going to be Chargers fans that end up watching this video. Charger fan, you're right. Fan's going to watch this, and he's going to get his score prediction in. Now I want you to get your score prediction. And if you see a Chargers fan, hey, get him out of my chat, right? Get him out of the comments. But always, and I mean this, I always want you to be honest. And if you think the Raiders are going to lose, it's fine. You're okay to say that. But just because I'm frustrated doesn't mean that I don't want this team to win. Doesn't mean I don't believe in the nation. It doesn't mean that I want Josh McDaniels to fail. I want Josh McDaniels to succeed. I want Jimmy Garoppolo to succeed. I want this team to succeed because I'm a lot more happy of an individual when they do. So give me the Raiders to win, Chugs. Give me the Raiders, Aidan O'Connell to win, 27-24. Sound good? Chugs likes it. Hopefully you do too. Give me your score predictions down below.